Hello learners, this is Habiba with Excel with me. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is research in education, with the main subtopic is quantitative data analysis, under which we are going to discuss the topic descriptive data analysis today. That too, measures of central tendency, variability. Let's start with descriptive statistics, which serves as a simple but critically important role in research. Now, to describe data set, that is the important thing here in descriptive statistics. Descriptive itself tells you that we are describing something. So hence the name, to describe data set. In other words, they help understand the details of sample. In the previous classes, we have understood in detail about population and sample. Unlike inferential statistics, descriptive statistics don't aim to make inferences or predictions about the entire population. Entire population, in research, what do? We take whole population, for example, an organization under which sample will be some set of employees, or in a school, maybe one class, 6th class or 8th class, any class we are going to choose, that will become the sample out of the big population of whole school. So they are purely these descriptive statistics, they are purely interested in the details of your specific sample. When writing up analysis, descriptive statistics are the first set of stats to cover before moving on to inferential statistics. So, but that said, depending on research objectives and research questions, they may be the only type of statistics to use. Some common statistical tests used in this branch include the following. So, the common descriptive statistics include the mean, that is average, the median, the mode, standard deviation and skewness. So, let's start with the measures of central tendency, that is mean, median, mode. Mean, this is simply the mathematical average of a range of numbers. So, median is, this is the midpoint in a range of numbers. When the numbers are arranged in numerical order, if the data set makes up an odd number, then the median is the number right in the middle of the set. If the data set makes up an even number, then the median is the midpoint between the two middle numbers. Now, mode, this is simply the most commonly occurring number in the data set. Now, what is variability? The mode, median and mean define the centers of a distribution of scores and provide the teacher with important information, but they do not present the total picture. For example, if we take any subject, we take all the scores and we take up the average. That doesn't give purely an idea whatever question or research problem we have taken. An understanding of variability must be applied to the measures of central tendency. As an example, consider this illustration given below. Here, two groups are there, group A, group B. Mean is given below of both the groups. Now, the distribution of data displayed in the illustration have the same measures of central tendency. If we see once again, mean 17 for group A, group B. Then median 17 for group A and group B. And mode also the same for group A and B, that is 16 here. So, if we see the distribution of data displayed in the illustration have the same measures of central tendency. The mode, median and mean of graph A are identical to the mode, median and mean of graph B. So, as far as central tendency is concerned, they are equal. However, in educational terms, they are anything but equal. For a teacher, graphs of this nature represent two very different circumstances. Now let's consider that both graphs represent the test scores of two different sets of students in the same subject area on the same day. So graph A shows a tight band of scores near the midpoint. Graph B shows a more diverse range of scores. Translated, the students in group A have performed at about the same level of average understanding. However, the students represented by group B displayed a much more diverse level of understanding. Now, in this case, some of the students performed quite well, while others scored considerably less well. If the same teacher had both sets of students, this would likely indicate the need for two different lesson plans for each class. So, by looking at variability, we can access a more complete story than what the measures of central tendency have told us about students' scores. So, individually about the mean and median, if we are taking the measures of central tendency, we will not understand. But with the variability, if we are looking with the variability, then we can access to the complete story and what steps we have to do further, that will be the solution. Now, standard deviation is a measure of the spread of scores around the mean in a normal curve. It is sometimes referred as the mean of the mean. For a given situation, the standard deviation measures how close the data points are to the mean. If most of the data points are clustered around the mean, then the standard deviation is small. Conversely, if most of the data points are widely spread and are not grouped around the mean, then the standard deviation is large. In other words, the more the data points differ from the mean, the greater the standard deviation and vice versa. Remember, data points for a teacher are likely to be test scores. Now, to clarify the concept of standard deviation, let's consider a class of 30 students. Each of the 30 students received a score of 87 on a test. Since every student received the same grade, the mean is 87 obviously. Since all the scores are the mean, there is no arithmetic difference between the scores and the mean. Therefore, the standard deviation in this scenario would be 0. If a few students scored an 85, the standard deviation would not be 0, but it would be quite small and much less than 1. The focus here is on standard deviation rather than variance, because although the two are related, the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. The standard deviation is easier to interpret because it is expressed in the same units as the data example. So here points on a test are given. The standard deviation is usually noted with this letter like this guy, whereas the variance is the square of that. So we come to the end of this session. Next part of this descriptive data analysis I will continue in the next class. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.